Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael, and right about now, everybody that I know and everybody that I don't know also across the world pretty much is practicing social distancing and self-isolation in an effort to combat the coronavirus, COVID-19. So today I'm gonna be kind of trying to put something together out of what I've got in my pantry, what I've got in my fridge, just whatever's laying around. So I know that a lot of you are stuck at home with limited food supplies and everything, and I'm sure you won't have the same things as me, but hopefully it could be an inspiration for you guys to get creative as well. So for starters here, you can see I've got flat leaf parsley. Also I had some shallots, carrots, and chicken breast. First off, I'm going to be getting all of these fresh items ready because I'm going to be making a soup. Pretty simple when you have a bunch of random ingredients. So I just coarsely chopped up the flat leaf parsley there. With the flat leaf parsley, the reason that I use that one as opposed to curly is the flat leaf or Italian parsley has a much nicer and more pronounced flavor than the curly parsley, which looks nicer, but that's about it. And I'm gonna follow it up here by dicing up these shallots. First I gotta get the skin off. And then I'm gonna chop it just like an onion. Cut them horizontally, and then I slice them vertically and then chop them up into about 1/4 inch dice. You can see that I trim all the way around the root so I can get as much as I can. Now we're just gonna slow down and stop for a bit so I can show you guys this, because not everybody knows about this, and it's worth knowing about. Anything in the onion and garlic family, any of those, they'll have these little green bits in the middle of the vegetable itself, of the onion or whatever it is. And those can cause indigestion, so I like to pick those out. Now I've got these carrots here, they look a little old, so we're gonna trim off some of the sketchy parts there, and then cut them at an angle into medallions. You don't need to cut them like that. If you've got carrots, you can cut them into just regular flat medallions. They don't have to be angled, but I like how they look when they're angled, so I'm going to do that. I already peeled the carrots beforehand. Next part, subtle but important now that we're all concerned about the spread of germs and whatnot. Of course, you should be washing your hands the whole time that you're doing this, but also I always make sure to switch out from this wooden cutting board that I only use for veggies and whatnot. I always make sure to switch it out for a plastic one when I go on to raw meat, because you don't want it to soak into this board, because then you're going to have that bacteria just sitting in there and growing, and you're going to have a bad time. I'm going to take the board, bring out that plastic board in a second here, but you can see underneath I've got a lightly moistened paper towel. That's just going to make sure that my board's not moving around while I'm working on it. Don't want to risk any injuries or anything there. There we go. One breast there, another one there. Kind of different sizes here. So first step is going to be to even those out in size so that we can get nice uniform pieces. So I just kind of flatten the first one there because it's pretty small, and then do horizontal and vertical cuts to get some nice dice out of it. The second one I flatten out. I don't quite butterfly it because the sides are uneven, but I just slice it so that it's a nice, flat, even, consistent thickness all the way through. And then you can see I finished gingerly cutting through them. And I've got my pile of chicken there. Probably would have been easier with a bigger cutting board, but what are you going to do? Okay, so now I've got all of my fresh ingredients together, processed, looking beautiful, and ready to go into my delicious quarantine soup for coronavirus shut-ins only. And now that I've got these all ready to go, it is time to get it all into the pot and start it cooking. First thing of all, we're gonna need to get our pot on the stove, toss some olive oil in there to get it lubed up, and get our shallots and our chicken cooking. Here you can see I've got a pretty big pot because I want to make a big soup that can stretch out a couple of days and feed us for a little while. Now, the biggest pot that I have is this canning pot. It's not necessarily the best for making soups in. It's got these ridges on the bottom, and not really the best for cooking anything on the bottom of, to be perfectly honest with you. But it is what I had and it will work. And that's what this video is about. It is about making do with what we have. The chicken and the shallots there, you can see they're cooking up nicely. The chicken is turning opaque. The shallots are turning translucent and caramelizing a bit. Now we're going to take some wine that I've got here. It's a very light rosé, but you can use white wine as well if you're doing this sort of soup. Or even you could do red wine. This is a tomato-based soup. I decided to add a white wine because it's going to be a little bit less acidic. And so the reason that I threw a little wine in there before I got going with the rest was just to deglaze all of those nice flavors off the bottom of the pot. Next, I'm going to toss in my carrots and some nice organic diced tomatoes I have in a can. Some frozen Normandy vegetables from Costco. Those don't hurt. There's some broccoli there, cauliflower, yellow carrots, all very nice. So now I'm going to add some seasonings. I've got Italian seasoning, dry oregano, and some Telecherry black peppercorns. I'm going to add a teaspoon of each of those herbs and then a couple cranks of the black pepper. Now you can see I'm adding in a bunch of ingredients furiously, mostly just anything tomato related that I had laying around. I had some tomato sauce that was still fresh in the fridge in a Tupperware. I had some V8, all that good stuff. So now I'm going to add some caldo de pollo, which is just chicken bouillon. It's kind of a cheap way to add flavor and salt to a soup, but you know, we're doing what we can do and it's going to taste just fine. So I'll make sure I've got all of the ingredients up on screen so that I didn't miss anything there. It really was a flurry of activity. So now we've got the soup heating up. We added a bunch of water as well, just to make sure that the liquid just came to the top of everything. And now we're heating it up to a boil. There it goes. See, we want to get those veggies cooked up that we've got in there. So now that those veggies are getting a little cooked with the boil going, I'm going to add that parsley in because we're towards the end now. We don't want to add the parsley too early or it's going to totally disintegrate in the pot. I do some taste tests and add some chicken bouillon here, a little more V8. It is getting close to the end. So now I've got a nice boil, I'm near the end, and I'm gonna add in a whole box of pasta. And this was a late decision in the game because I just wanted to add some starch and fill out the soup even more, make it even heartier. We're just going to need to cook this for as long as the pasta is going to need to cook, and it's going to come off. There we are. Our noodles are al dente for our Italian soup. That means to the bite, I think, in Italian. That's where your pasta is just right, where it's just a little chewy, not too raw or anything. So at this point, we're going to turn the burner off, and we are done. I've got electric burners here on my stove, which is unfortunate because they just kind of maintain the heat in the elements for a while after they've shut off, but not to worry. So we've got our final product here. I added some pesto I had in the fridge and some shaved Parmigiano Reggiano on top. And yeah, you can easily throw together something like this, whether it's a chili or a stew or a soup or whatever, and get creative. Now is the best time to work with what you've got and try something new. Best of luck to everybody out there. Stay healthy, and thanks for watching.